All right. Welcome back.
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation. The Misfit Nation Show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by two veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation Show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_Misfit Nation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
Good evening, Stephen.
Good evening.
Hey.
I pulled up and then I got back down again.
Yeah, I guess we had a little bit of a problem going there with the introduction. Hey, not to worry, though. The ToosDay Crue is here. We are here. So, how was your day today?
Hot and sweaty kind of day, my friend.
It was a hot and sweaty day, Misfit Nation. I hope everybody did today what they needed to do to stay cool because the new term that they like to throw around out there is heat dome. And I can guarantee you here in Western Kentucky, we are in it. And it is definitely hot. I think Mrs. Holland, she was out working with the chickens and working in the garden today. And I know she showered twice already today. So she had to shower before she come in at noon to eat. And I think she showered again before we had supper. So yeah, it has been a hot one. Hey, we got a great guest tonight, Stephen.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. She is coming to us from Alabama, and her name is Shamika White, and she's been in workforce development, talent acquisition, community engagement, but now she is with the Rod Lemon Foundation, which I've done some searching on it. It is an awesome organization for veterans and the community. And she was brought on to actually create Transcend 214. And we're going to let her talk about that. We're going to talk about other things. I've got some accolades to read about her. And shoot, let's kick this off. Let's get her in here.
Right. Good
Hello,
evening.
Shamika.
Hello.
Sorry about the technical difficulty for a second, but we catch up and keep moving.
No, perfectly okay. Thank you guys so much for having me. I really do appreciate it. I'm very excited to be here tonight.
Well, we're excited to have you. And it's just, I was reading through everything, and I'm just going to give our listeners just a little bit of, well, I tell you what, why don't you tell us what your organization does and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll go into some stuff that I found.
Sure. So my name is Shamika White, and I am the executive director of the Rod Lemon Foundation. We run two separate programs. We have a community engagement program. Through our community engagement program, we offer financial literacy. We have a partnership with NACA. So we talk to people in the community about home ownership and doing that regardless of your credit score or your ability to make a down payment or pay closing costs. Essentially, the way the program works is NACA looks at what you pay in rent every month, and that's how they determine your eligibility for mortgage. It is a phenomenal program. It really helps a lot of people move into home ownership, something that we're super proud of. We also do business development courses, credit repair courses. So we're really focused on the financial well-being of our community. Transcend 214 is my baby. I absolutely love Transcend. It's the thing that I could talk the most about, and trust me, I could talk all day, every day. But the program was initially developed to address homelessness in areas in Alabama specifically that did not have head vash availability. All of our head vash dollars go to 4 major metro areas in the state, which would be Mobile, Montgomery, Birmingham, and Huntsville, and maybe a few of those little suburban areas right outside of those major cities. Leaving areas like Calhoun County, Alabama, just without the same availability. So it was really about our veterans in our local area having access to the same level of resources. Over time, we actually ended up doing a hard pivot, and we moved more into addressing mental health and stressors that kind of surround mental health. So we bring a lot of things to the table outside of what the VA offers, not knocking the VA for anyone that uses their mental health services, but we just know that doesn't work for everybody. So we've tried to bring some alternatives to the forefront. With that, we also address those stressors, like I mentioned before, and ways that we can alleviate those and hopefully build a happier and healthier community.
All right. Sounds like you're doing great things. And I was looking through some folks that you had talked to, and just looking at different videos and stuff. I kind of ran through TikTok a little bit. And I'm going to bring up a name. I don't know if you remember him or not. He was actually, when I was in the Army, I didn't work directly with him, but knew a lot of people that knew him. A gentleman by the name of Gary Brohard.
Yes, absolutely. I love Gary.
Yeah. And so, that I'm not, that just kind of brought things together. And I know there's a lot going on down there in the community, especially around the Anniston, the Huntsville area and stuff like that. And just for our listeners, I am going to read real quick. This story kind of impressed me. I'm going to read this real quick. It says, months ago, the home of Pelham resident R. Roman was in such a state of disrepair that he didn't feel it was safe for him or his children. The house's roof was leaking, overgrown trees were damaging the power lines, his HVAC system, refrigerator wasn't working, and he was grappling with all these issues and had some leaks, and everything was leaving him with water bills of more than $300. He's a disabled Army veteran and single father of 2 children, ages 6 and 15, and he couldn't do it. He said he was at the risk of losing everything. But then that's when the Rod Lemon Foundation refused to let that happen. And they came in, they stepped up, got everything done, got his house fixed in 60 days. Took care of everything. So now this guy has a safe home for him and his kids. He's not in danger of anybody coming in and say the house is unsafe. We're going to take your kids. And that I ain't gonna lie, that might have had a little bit of sweat running down my cheek after I read that. But And that's just one person. I am sure that you've helped other people, but that's just one story out of, I'm sure, many that are out there. And yeah, let's just, yes, I am a crier. Shut up.
It's okay.
But,
Me too.
okay. Hey, but yeah, I'm the guy that can watch a movie and watch everybody, get shot and killed and everything. But as soon as the dog gets killed, I'm in a bawling my eyes out. So yeah, it happens. But yeah, just talk about some of the good things that y'all are doing, and specifically Transcend and what y'all are doing down there.
So Transcend, I don't even know where to start. We were a little bit slow to start. We like I said, we looked at initiating the program in October of 2023 when I came on board, and we did a veterans town hall. We were really trying to listen to find out exactly where those gaps in services were. Back in January, and this is the power of TikTok. I'm going to tell you now. Back in January, I had the flu. So this is an important part of my story, because anybody that knows me knows I hit the ground running when I get up, and I am wide open until I finally decide that I'm done for the day. And sometimes that is in the wee hours of the morning. So I got the flu. And when I got the flu, I did what a lot of people do, and I laid in bed and I doom scrolled TikTok. So during the time that I was doom scrolling TikTok, I came across the video with Mr. Roman. And I just knew automatically when I saw it that he was just as far as he could go. I think that it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out in a vulnerable way like that. But when he took to social media and he said, "Hey, I need help," that really resonated with me. I sent him a private message. I never, ever do that. But I sent a private message and I said, "Hey, I'm this little nonprofit here in Calhoun County, Alabama, but we may be able to bring some resources." Once we spoke, there were some things. He was very trepidatious of working with a nonprofit, essentially because he had several different groups reach out to him, and they had made a lot of promises and then just kind of fallen off the face of the earth. And I think that happens a lot within the nonprofit sector. I always say I can't guarantee anything, but I promise that I'm going to do as much as I can to help you. And sometimes that looks like maybe pushing you to another resource, or putting you in front of someone that maybe is better suited to help you with your immediate need. In Mr. Roman's case, he gave me a list of the things that he needed. We met in person. He wasn't comfortable sharing his vetting information, which was his DD-214, some of the personal information. He wasn't comfortable doing that with some random person he met on TikTok, which I completely understand.
Yeah.
So we met in person. We had a phenomenal conversation. He provided his documentation, and then we were automatically able to kind of start ticking off that list. So to me, anything that you do is eating an elephant one bite at a time. So if you're looking at the overarching picture, it's huge and it's scary and it's hard to tackle. But if you start breaking that into smaller sectors, we just do that a bite at a time. So one thing that I knew that we could do immediately was make sure he got a new refrigerator. He didn't have a functional kitchen. So having a refrigerator and a microwave allowed him to have groceries at home instead of having to take his resources to fast food or pizza or whatever. The tree service, we were able to work with an entity out of Marshall County, Alabama, that was able to donate those services on Mr. Roman's behalf, which was phenomenal. HVAC, they cut us a great deal. So we ended up paying for a very limited amount of labor and then just the parts that were needed to fix his unit. And then I'm going to tell you guys, the roof was a God thing. I don't know where else to give the credit to, because that's a huge elephant for a small nonprofit. We had a group go out, a contractor go out. He gave me a call after, and he said, "Hey, this roof's going to be $15,000 or $20,000," and that's half my operational budget, or almost half my operational budget for the year. I was like, I don't know how we're going to do this. So I immediately found a company that donates shingles. So I reached out, I filled out the form. Guys, I'm going to tell you, I'm not a roofer. So I'm just kind of guesstimating how many shingles come in a bundle. Like I don't know any of the math. I'm just going, okay, so this is how many sets of shingles we need. But the next morning, a roofing company that had done some work for me several years ago randomly sent me an email to my work email instead of my personal email, which was just crazy. So, it was like, hey, just seeing how your work is holding up, let us know if you need anything. And I just felt so led to ask Jonathan at the Roofing Dudes. I was like, do you guys ever do any type of roofing at like free or at an extremely reduced rate? So he called me within about 10 minutes and he was like getting some specifics. And he says, there's this company that does donations. And I said, oh, you're talking about GAF. Like, that's awesome. Like I just went online and requested a donation for this roof. And he says, I can do you one better. I have a personal contact. So working with Jonathan with the Roofing Dudes out of Pelham, Alabama, and working with GAF, we were able to get the majority of everything that he needed donated. His laborers donated their time. We essentially covered workers' comp, like their workers' comp insurance for the job, a few little nitpicky things that weren't donated. So he had to have some, wood replaced and vents and, the things that go on top of roofs. But it was a miracle. I don't know how else to say it. It was a miracle. And it wasn't just a miracle for the foundation, but it was a miracle for our veteran too.
Yes.
The day that they put the roof on his house, we had extremely severe weather. Like tornadoes, like everybody was sheltering. I mean, it was really, really bad weather. And he sent me a message and he's like, my new roof is going to blow off my house. And I was like, no, like that's not going to happen. But it was amazing because after the severe weather, he didn't have water to clean up because his ceilings weren't leaking anymore.
Nice.
There was just so many awesome things that came together for Mr. Roman. I just have to give all the credit to God on everything that happened there.
He takes care of everything.
For us, it was absolutely amazing because he started talking about our program. So here we were, this little tiny program in Calhoun County, Alabama, that nobody in Calhoun County, Alabama was talking about. We were working with veterans all over the country, but we weren't working with anybody in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden we just exploded. So we were able to partner with 220, which is how I met Gary. He's an amazing human, by the way. He's one of my favorite people of all time. We were able to partner with him to do through our mental health stuff in May. Gary was one of our presenters, did a phenomenal bang-up job. Because of that, we were able to help tie 220 in with the Green Star Widows out of, I think they're technically out of Pennsylvania right now, but we were able to tie the Green Star families in with 220. So now the Green Stars are now recognized for counseling through 220. So I'm really proud that we got to play a part in that. And then everything else just kind of went crazy. We get reach outs on almost a daily basis, and not just from out of the state, but from all over. So we're placing homeless veterans. We are looking at different home repairs and different things that we can do. So it's been a really exciting 7 months for us. And I really do think that's the power of TikTok. And of course, being able to do what we did at the beginning of the year with Mr. Roman.
That's just an awesome story about, just how that started. I mean, just a random person, reaching out to a random person and then boom, it just explodes like that. Well, that's amazing. Now, I didn't realize when I was reading it, but you are nationwide.
So we have been working nationally. I think the first reach out that we had off TikTok, once again, the power of TikTok. The first reach out that we had off TikTok was out of a live. And I was just in somebody's box somewhere and they recognized the name. They said, oh, like you're Shamika with Transcend. And she sent me a private message and she said, hey, I've got a veteran in Texas. He's currently unhomed. He's a full-time college student. And is there anything that you can do to help him get some type of transitional housing? So thankfully, we had some really good resources in Texas. Shout out to Compassion United and Luke Redis in that program. I was able to reach out to Luke, he's in Conroe, Texas, and say, this is kind of my situation. And he was able to connect me with someone else who was able to connect me with someone else until we were able to get our veteran housed in Texas. I think it took us about 3 days on him.
Okay. All right. That's amazing. You know, I hate to see people living outdoors.
I do too.
That is not a good thing. Hey, we got a question that came in.
Sure.
Somebody, King for half hour. He's retired out of Fort McClellan. Are you located downtown or in another area?
So we are in the Golden Springs area. It's where our offices are. Now, I do tend to work from home a lot. It's one of the best things about working nonprofit is that I can just set up and work from home. But just for because I know you'll know what I'm talking about. We actually just purchased 216 undeveloped acres right outside of Fort McClellan. It's right past where the National Guard Training Center is. And in 2026, we will be doing veteran weekend retreats, specifically around post-traumatic stress and offering some different therapies. So it'll be primitive, like primitive camping almost with a few flares. We've got ATV trails cut. We've got stocked ponds. We'll have equine therapy. So there's going to be some really good things happening out there this year, or next year.
And King for half hour said he attends Sacred Heart Church there in Golden Springs.
You're not too far from us. We are, and we have an office in the Entrepreneur Center right there behind CMP.
All right. So I also, you're talking about Transcend, and I also read about there in the Rod Lemon Foundation, the outreach and community development that you do there locally, and it says scholarship. I get, is that scholarships for local students, or is that another thing that's nationwide?
So that is a two-way street. So we do offer several small scholarships to local students. Okay. And in 2024, we were able to do a full ride scholarship for a student out of Houston, Texas. And I'm very excited to announce that in 2025, we will be accepting applications to also offer another full ride scholarship to a local resident of Calhoun County. So it is in partnership with an organization called 5 Strong. And they are HBCU scholarships, but it really is a neat process to be able to offer that. Scholarship-wise, just generally speaking, we offer several. And we do, if you're in a second-year nursing program, we have a scholarship for that. If you are the child of a military veteran, we also have a scholarship for that. And then last year, for the first time, we started offering a systems impacted scholarship specifically for children of systems impacted parents. So that one is a little bit different because it does not require a certain GPA. It does not require a high school diploma. If you have a GED, you're eligible for that scholarship. So that was something that we wanted to put on the table because of the area that we're in. And there's just a lot of impact. So we're trying to change lives in our area.
I understand. I completely understand that. Now, back to the homelessness, now I'm unfamiliar. I mean, I've been through that area and I have been to Fort McClellan and Anniston before, but is that a pretty big problem down around that area, or is it more?
Last year, now we do an annual event. It's our Eliminate Hunger in Our Community event. And during that event, we serve homeless veterans and elderly within the community. And what we do, we do a week's worth of shelf-stable groceries. And then we've branched out. So we're also providing health screenings, flu vaccinations, COVID vaccinations if someone chooses to do that. Last year, we had a cell phone provider that did the free cell phones, and we also had a representative with Enroll Alabama. So if you didn't have medical insurance and you qualified for that, we were able to help get you set up for some insurance, if I can spit that out. We anticipate that event's going to grow every year. Last year, out of the people that we served, 15% of those people identified themselves as unhomed and military or former military. So that is an issue in our area. Once again, one of the reasons why it's so important that we look at HUD-VASH availability and why that's not available in all areas.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And again, that's just that I don't know. I truly believe that you're doing God's work. You're out there, and you keep doing that. He's going to keep blessing you with donors and people that just, we'll do this. As long as it's helping somebody out, we'll do this. So that's a great thing. What other things y'all looking to get into? I mean, is it, you're doing so much already, but
So far, our 2026, like I said, is our launch year for our PTSD retreat weekends. I am super excited about that. That is something that I've had in my head since the initial purchase of since the initial purchase of the property. It's absolutely gorgeous out there. I can't tell you guys how cool it is just to be on that much acreage where there's nothing. It's just open space. I said it's very close to Fort McClellan, so there's not a lot of development in that area regardless. So that's going to be really exciting. And then we are also exploring going into 2027, offering job training and job development and career counseling. So we're kind of putting our toe in the water a little bit, and I'll be able to share more about that probably in 6 months.
Well, in 6-8 months, we'll get you on here again and we can do an update.
I would be glad to do it.
Yeah, we will do that. Misfit Nation, we thank you for jumping on this evening. If you missed the first part of this, minus the technical difficulties, we've been talking with Shamika White and her work with the Rod Lemon Foundation and Transcend 214, and talking about helping out veterans, trying to reduce homelessness, helping with groceries, helping with healthcare and all that stuff. So if you missed that first part, I think we've caught you up on everything. And we'll make sure, and we will scroll your website across the bottom. So if anybody wants to reach out to you, and let me tell you what, folks, if you're out there, you're listening, you needing help with anything, punch in that website, contact them. If they are unable to help, they will get you in touch with people that can help.
Absolutely.
And from just sitting here and talking to Shamika here for just a little bit, I can already tell she will go above and beyond getting you the help that you need. So feel free to reach out. And hey, while you're reaching out, if you're feeling the darkness and you don't think that you want to be here tomorrow or the next day, pick up that telephone, dial 988. If you're a veteran, take option 1. Somebody will be there to talk to you. And Stephen, if they don't get the answers they want there, what are they going to do?
They can email you at jake@themisfitnation.com or Stephen@themisfitnation.com or info@themisfitnation.com, and we will get in touch with you. We'll get you our phone numbers, and we'll sit and chat and do whatever you would like us to do. Anytime.
That's something I got is ears, and I can listen.
Yes.
So give us a holler. And again, thank you for joining us tonight.
And Shamika, one thing you're listening, you're saying like GAF, there are a lot of companies to reach out to, and a lot of companies I am sure will throw things at you. And I've been working in retail for over 30 years. And you talk to people and they're like, oh, I can do this. Oh, yeah, I can do that. It's amazing. And I'm glad that you're doing that and people are offering their services, offering their products, because everybody needs help sooner or later, and you're there, and it's just an amazing thing.
Thank you so much. I completely agree. I say, I never mind asking, because the worst I'm ever going to hear is no.
Exactly.
So I really do appreciate you guys having me on here.
We're not getting rid of you. We're just taking a break for a second.
Yeah. We're just.
Oh, okay.
No.
We got you for another 20 some minutes. We just
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
things
we
out
ain't
of the
letting you
way,
go
taking
that
the
quick.
breath.
Come on now.
I didn't know.
We don't got well, we don't want you to get worn out talking the whole time. We stop, slow down. I can throw in, Reach Across America on Monday at 3 p.m. around, stuff like that. You get it out there, talk to people about that, and then we can come back to you and you can start talking again. I still don't want to wear you out.
I'm still relatively new to doing this,
Oh, so
so
are we. This is only a year now. We're playing this game.
really,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've not been doing this very long.
well, you guys are like super professional. I'm impressed.
Hey, don't get our heads all swole up now.
So
Yeah,
And
not
and
my
we,
pop.
and we're not going to get rid of you. We're not going to get rid of you quick because this is one of the rare nights that I've actually had supper before getting on the show. So I got a full belly, so I can.
we have a veteran that we've been working with in Pennsylvania that he and his family are moving to Alabama. So I have his house key, and when we wrap up tonight, I'm going to go and do their perfunctory before they move in cleaning. So I'm going to go wipe down walls and wipe out cabinets and, all the things you do when you move into a brand new house.
Yes, and that's those little things. Because you could probably just as easy hire a
Just
couple people to go in there and
or
do
just say,
that.
here, take it and do it yourself.
Yeah, or hey,
We're giving you this. You're going in there and you're giving it special touches.
you was in the military. You're good at cleaning stuff.
Listen, we just want to make, it's really about community to me. And I feel like as we build community, that's how we do it, by showing up and being consistent with the people that we're working with. I want people to know that they can call when they're spiraling after a VA call. And, we're going to talk them through it. Or if I can't talk them through it, I'm going to connect them with somebody that can. So I love that you guys do the phone calls too. I think it's pretty cool because we do something very similar. We refer people out.
Mm-hmm.
But I take a lot of those like random, like I just got off the phone with a VA or I just had an appointment and I'm just having a really bad day, and we just hold space like that. That's important.
Yes,
We're friends. We make friends.
Yes, you do. Got another question that popped in here from Dave Runja. What are the most overlooked challenges veterans are facing when transitioning out of the service? Thank you for that question, Dave Runja.
So I'm going to say there's several. If you go off the challenge report and you just look at what veterans that are transitioning out of the service talk about, they're talking about legal. Legal is like 7 out of 10 things where you're making too much money in theory to apply for legal aid, but yet maybe you need help navigating a difficult child support situation or a difficult divorce. So family law is really pretty high up there. Understanding how to transition your military MOS into a civilian job, and kind of looking at what those expectations are. When you're transitioning out of the service, you're used to being in a not so well-oiled machine. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Like,
Yes.
You're doing the same thing at the same time every day, and it may be a cluster, but you know what you're getting into. And most civilian jobs are not like that. You kind of get into the civilian sector, there's not as much organization. It's just not as disciplined. But what I've seen the most, and this was my career prior to nonprofit, is someone that is transitioning out of the service and they don't know how to make their information transferable. And I know that there's tons of organizations that work on that, but I'll give you a great example. I actually talked about this on another podcast pretty recently. We had a gentleman that had been transitioning out of the Army, and he had applied for every entry-level position that we had. And when I was initially reviewing his resume, I was like, why is he applying for all these entry-level positions? Because obviously he had a skill set that was much more advanced than just an entry-level position. So I was able to call. I said, hey, let's make a few tweaks to your resume because I think that we've got a project manager position that would really, really work well for you. We go through that process. Several weeks later, he's hired in. He comes to my office and he says, I just never thought that I would ever make this much money. But it wasn't because he didn't have the skill set. It's because he didn't understand how to take that and apply that. And a lot of people that work in hiring managers, talent acquisition, even workforce development, really don't have the understanding to go in and just Google to see what an MOS does, and then look at that rank and how that rank and that MOS work together to make a great employee.
Yes.
And then, of course, the challenge is navigating the VA, because you guys all know that is not a super user-friendly process. And so we try to be experts in the VA process so that you guys kind of have someone to lean on and ask questions, or we can kind of guide you through if we need to.
Okay. All right. Shoot, we're getting more questions out here. From J. Roth, Battalion Sergeant, BNSG.
Yeah,
Okay. Will you be participating in the Woodstock 5K this Saturday?
No.
Negative.
But hey, I bet you could set up a cooler somewhere along the route with your.
I would not be opposed to doing that and handing out some water. Now I will be speaking locally with the Kiwanis on August the 22nd. I'm kind of talking a little bit about our program and what we're doing. So if you're out and about for a Kiwanis meeting, then I will be there.
All right. And have a druid. How can local communities better support veteran housing and healthcare?
What a great question. So first and foremost, find out if you have HUD-VASH availability in your area. Like that is huge. If you do not have HUD-VASH availability, find out who your local senator is, find out who your congressman is, and ask those questions. Why do we not have HUD-VASH availability in our area? Like, I'm really trying to raise awareness about this, because this is a huge deficit, in my opinion, especially in Calhoun County, because we do have a tremendous veteran population, being that we are the side of the former Fort McClellan. And it's a gap, and it breaks my heart, because if you don't have HUD-VASH availability, that if you're looking to do transitional housing for homeless veterans, then you do not have access to the GPD program, which is the grant per diem program, which is what a lot of transitional housing uses to be able to financially support their veteran.
Okay. And that's just HUDVASH, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I had heard of HUD. I had never heard of the HUD-VASH. So, yeah, I'm going to look that up, because we have a big problem around where we're at, that a lot of holding companies are buying a lot of property, a lot of houses, and they want to rent everything. Well, people don't want to rent. They want to own. And it's hard to get around. You can't compete with these companies buying up all these houses and stuff. So, so maybe this here can help out. Got another question that came in from Gov for Sale. Of all those you've helped, I know you get the rush of adrenaline from their joy to see a better life. What is one story you can share about a veteran helped that nearly broke you down? Thank you for that question.
It is a great question. I think all my veteran stories kind of break me down to a certain extent. I think when you do this type of work, there is a certain victory. Like I do feel really great at the end of the day when I'm able to assist someone and I see that they're making a positive change. Maybe a month or two ago, I got a call from a local organization, and they said, hey, we've got a young veteran, a very young veteran, 22, 23, very young, that is currently unhomed. And I said, yep, send him my number. So I'm talking to this guy at like 9:00 at night. He tells me his story. I have him send over the documentation that I need to start kind of halfway doing his intake process. But my priority, of course, is making sure that he's in a safe place for at least the night, right? So I drive and I meet him and he is obviously under the influence of substances. I am not going to judge that. There are ways that we can address those problems. Listen, first and foremost, my priority was making sure that he was safe for the night. Tomorrow we can deal with other things.
Mm-hmm.
We talk. He kind of tells me a little bit more about his story, where he's hoping to be, and says, hey, I need a program. Perfect. I get up the next morning. I start making phone calls and found a program that would take him with no intake fees, which means that he now has a place to sleep. He's got a program to go through. He's got 3 meals a day provided, and it's not going to cost him anything. We just need to get him from point A to point B. So I talk to the lady. I give her the information. They obviously have an intake process of their own that he needs to go through. And I don't hear anything back from her that day. And I thought it was a little odd. So on Monday, the next Monday, I follow up and I say, hey, where are we at with veteran X? And she says, well, we talked on the phone. He was belligerent. He said he didn't want my help and he hung up. Okay. So, in my head, I deal with you guys every day, right? So I'm like, it's hard to ask for help and it's hard to admit sometimes that we have a problem. So I reach out. He basically tells me to kick rocks. He doesn't want to deal with me anymore at all. A couple of days later, I get another phone call from another organization that says, hey, we've got this young veteran and he's unhomed and we need to see if you can help him. And it's the same veteran. And at this point, all I can do is say, I've offered resources. I've put my name out. I've found him a place. If you guys can convince him that this is the place he needs to go, then we will 100% be able to assist him. But other than that, I can't continue with him. Now, this was specifically hard. My son right now is deployed, and this young man is about the same age as my son. And I look at this young man, and I see so much potential, and I see so much brokenness. But you can only do so much. So those are the ones that hurt me the most. The ones that I really, really want to be able to correct the problem. I want to fix it. And I can't because they have to meet me halfway. So those are the ones that are off. And we have more stories like that, but that one really bothered me. And I think it was just because he's so young.
Yes. And I was another one of my questions down here that I had to ask you, but you answered it. I was going to ask, what's your connection to the, you have to have some kind of connection to the military, to be helping out veterans. And you just mentioned your son. Tell him thank you.
Absolutely. I tell him every day how proud I am of him.
What service is he in?
So he's in the Army, and he is a phenomenal young man. So he's probably listening from where he's at least I hope he is. I hope he's streaming. So Nick, I love you, and I'm so proud of you. I am the granddaughter of a Purple Heart recipient from the Battle of the Bulge. My grandfather was a World War II veteran. My great-grandfather on my mom's side is a World War II veteran. Both of my uncles are Army veterans. We just grew up in a household or in a family environment. We were just really proud of our military. I grew up kind of in a different America, and you guys know what I'm talking about there also. We were really proud to be Americans, and really proud of the country that we live in. And those habits die hard. I'm still very proud to be an American, and I'm very proud of the men and women that choose to serve, to make sure that I have the ability to sit on this podcast. So we owe our service members everything.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Another question. Wild and free. Shamika, thanks for doing what you're doing for our brothers and sisters. What leadership skills did you take from the corporate world to help you in the nonprofit organization world? Thank you for that question, Wild and Free.
That is a great question. So first of all, I've always been super bossy. I'm just joking. I am a little bit bossy. Really, it's leadership by servitude. So prior to talent acquisition, workforce development, my background was HR. Professional wet blanket, that's what I was. But I also understand that your employees are kind of the backbone of your company. So by serving our employees, what we're doing is we're really bolstering the health of a company, right? Like you're building a company by taking care of your employees. So I get to do that now in a much greater way because I'm bolstering our veterans to make a better community or a better country.
Okay. And even if I wasn't a veteran, uh, I'm not, and I gotta say, I'm a proud veteran, and I don't think that the country owes us everything, but especially the older veterans or the veterans that disabled veterans that can't do stuff for themselves. I do believe that we owe them something, and yeah, that's one of those things that I will go above and beyond to help out veterans. Another question. Tell you what, ToosDay Crue, you're rolling them in this evening. General service dude, what days do you go to Jacksonville and eat lunch at Cooter Brown's? We used to hit Cooters once a week.
I have not eaten at Cooters. I've only eaten at Cooters one time, and that was when I was still with a company that I was with prior to moving over to nonprofit. And guys, it was right after COVID, and they didn't have any lettuce. So my barbecue salad was a barbecue salad with no salad. But it was excellent. It was really good food.
Well, that's the best barbecue salad when you don't have all that green stuff in there.
That green just gets in the way.
Yeah, that green stuff just gets in the way. How many races have you caught at that racetrack down there in Lincoln?
Once again, prior to being in the area, but we, when I was still married, my ex-husband and I had friends that went every October and every May. And I think we ended up doing 3 with them. I'm not opposed to Talladega. It's actually really fun to go and watch the races. But I don't think that I am the stay overnight at the campground type of girl.
Oh, come on now.
It gets a little wild. Like even on the family friendly side, it's different.
And I've stayed at both Talladega and Bristol, and I've seen things that I don't ever want to see again in my life.
I guess you're saying it's bad.
Put it this way, it took a lot of burning to get all that out of my brain.
All right, then. All right.
Another question from Nancy did it. Okay, I think this is a typo, but have you kinked with Habitat? Have you linked with Habitat for Humanity or maybe a joint project?
So Nancy, I just said I wasn't that type of girl. No, in full seriousness, with the company that I was with prior out of Etowah County, we actually had a Habitat for Humanity team. And I ran our Habitat for Humanity team. I really believe in what they do. I would love to work with Habitat, specifically on a veteran project. Right now, we are working with Team Depot on a project in South Alabama. So we're just, guys, it has been the longest project. I think we started working to get this done in April. And it is July. Not everybody moves with the same sense of urgency that I do, because like once I focus in on something, like I want to get it done so we can get to the next thing. But we have not worked with Habitat, and I would very much be open to that.
So anybody out there that's got any link up with Habitat Humanity, if you out there listening, hey, let's put everybody together here.
Yeah, definitely. You'd probably go through Home Depot for something like that also. Because then they work on other Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah. Hey, Steve.
Back in the day.
Yeah, you a retail guy. You got any old contacts back over in the Home Depot?
I would have to see if there's people still alive, because we're getting up there in age, and people retire and leave. I'm going to go back and see if there's people in there. But I could do that. Definitely, I could do that. All right, we got another question. If it pops up. Kelly97. What's your favorite football team and why is it Auburn?
So I'm so sorry to disappoint, Kelly. Thank you for the question. Roll Tide. I hope that doesn't turn anybody against me. I'm very honestly, Deborah did so poorly this last season. Where we get a little spoiled with our Crimson Tide football. I almost converted to Georgia.
Well, my Mrs. Holland is from a little bitty town just south of Huntsville. And so, of course, she's an Alabama fan. And whenever Alabama, if they should ever play Notre Dame, things get a little lively around our house. But
do you mind if I ask what little town? I'm actually from a little town just south of Huntsville, too.
She is from Lacey Spring.
From Lacey Springs. I've got friends out there. I'm from the Boaz area. So originally.
Okay. Yeah. Matter of fact, her house is no longer there anymore. She lived back a long dirt road in a trailer house along the river back there. So, yeah, that's not even there anymore. But we took a drive. I had to go to Huntsville for something, and she went down there with me, and we went out there to take a look at it. But she took me down, showed me where it was at, and showed me all around the area, but the house wasn't there anymore. And I was looking at your smile. You got way too many teeth to be an Alabama fan.
Spoken like a true Notre Dame fan. It was a disappointing year for me, guys. I get, we're not going to win every season. We're not going to be a national championship team every year. But guys, Vanderbilt.
Well,
it was painful. It really was. It was painful. It wasn't the losses. It was who the losses were to this year. Vanderbilt and Tennessee.
I understand. Hey, but we can agree on one thing though. Ohio State sucks.
I don't want anybody from Ohio not to want to donate to us.
Okay.
So actually, my former stepfather played at Ohio State. So he, back in the 80s. That doesn't mean that I like him. And Roll Tide. And so yeah, I'm loyal.
Yeah. Well, and I'm in Western Kentucky and Rich is down in Clarksville. So we're pretty much from like the Vanderbilt area. And that's pretty impressive the way they hauled that goalpost away after that game.
Like I said, out of all the losses, I would have taken a loss to almost anybody else. Vanderbilt hurt my feelings. I just have to say that I didn't even mind losing to Tennessee as much as I did Vanderbilt.
I completely understand. I think we lost to Marshall one year, and that kind of hurt. But hey, enough about that football stuff. Folks, the name is Shamika White. The foundation is the Rod Lemon Foundation and Transcend 214. Great organizations. They do great things for veterans. They do great things for the community. I do not care where you are in the country. Reach out and contact them, and they can reach back to wherever you're at and get you some help. Like I said, we hate to see people living outside. I was homeless for a short time between deployments. Wife number 2 kicked me out of the house, and I lived in our company day room for a few months, and then basically went on deployment again, so I had someplace to live. But it's not a good thing. It is not, and sleeping on people's front porches and on their couches and stuff, that gets old. So get the help you need. And if you need help with substance abuse, if you need help, with mental health, get it. Reach out to these folks. There's many organizations out there that can help you.
Well, that's also a big problem. A lot of them are afraid to ask for help. Even here where I'm in Bloomfield, New Jersey, we have homeless, and some of them are veterans. And from what I hear, the families have houses for them, have this for them, and they would rather not take it. They'd rather be what they're being on the street. They're too, I don't know, but they won't take the help. They won't get, come inside and do what they need to do. They have to want to do it. They have to want the help. You can't force it.
Now, we did talk with a guy last week. Now, when you do your get-togethers for veterans and stuff like that, do you get a lot of veterans?
It really depends. We did a webinar series through May, and I was so impressed with the number of people that showed up for the webinar series. They were free. We talked about different mental health avenues. We talked about accelerated resolution therapy. We talked about peer-to-peer counseling with 22-0. We talked about good old cognitive behavioral therapy and what that looks like. And then we talked about psychedelics and, how if someone were interested, it, kind of answered some questions about that and how a veteran could pursue the use of psychedelics or psychedelic treatment for PTS. Our town hall last year, I think we ended up with 27, which I think was pretty good considering. It was all very word of mouth. A lot of what we've done like that has been very word of mouth. When you circle back to homelessness, and I just kind of want to hit on this for a second because Stephen mentioned it. I think the root of homelessness is mental health. And I think with our veterans specifically, that a lot of times they don't feel like they're getting what they need from the VA. And whether that looks like they've started therapy and they've started to develop some type of rapport with their therapist, and their therapist changes and they have to start with a new therapist. Delays in appointments, or having appointments scheduled and then having appointments pushed back, or getting to the appointment and finding out that your appointment's been rescheduled. I think all those things kind of play into some of the issues that we have. And then also the fact that the VA is offering cognitive behavioral therapy across the board, which is not a bad thing. It works for some people, but for some people it just doesn't. And they just don't want to talk through that trauma over and over and over. So there are alternatives out there to that type of therapy. I tell everybody, if this is not working for you, there is something out there that will. So we just have to figure out what it is, and whether that be peer-to-peer counseling, whether that be something like EDMR or accelerated resolution, whether that means that you load up and you go to Peru for some type of psychedelic treatment. There is something out there for everybody, and it doesn't hurt you to try something. There's a lot of pride within the veteran community, and it's very, very hard to ask for help.
Yes.
So I think that's kind of a twofold issue. I think that it's the lack of mental health support, or the inability to ask for the help that they need when it comes to mental health.
Okay. All right. Now, we're coming to an end. So we got one more question in 3 parts for you.
Okay.
What are 3 non-negotiables that Shamika has to do every day to make her day complete?
3 non-negotiables. So I currently have custody of my granddaughters, and I am going to spend some time with those grandbabies every day. They are 4 and 3, or almost 5. And that's something that is a non-negotiable. I'm going to do breakfast with those babies every morning. If that means I'm ignoring phone calls, I will catch back up. I promise. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I have any other non-negotiables. I pivot so quickly. But the babies are my number one priority right now.
All right. Well, I tell you what, and if you've got them to worry about, there's probably a lot more non-negotiables in there than you know.
Yeah.
And we had a question from Sally Port. Gian, what happened to the intro? That is the most amazing part of the show, minus Cagney and Lacey. I tell you what, you will have to talk to the producer about that because we don't know what happened either. But thank you for catching that. Well, I believe
but the show went on.
Hey, the show went on. The show went on. And Shamika, thank you for taking time out for this hour and talking to us, getting this information out there. And
thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you. Yes, thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing what you do. And Misfit Nation, ToosDay Crue, you know we love you. We want to see you here next week. Again, if you're feeling down, if you don't want to be here tomorrow or feel like you don't want to be, pick up that phone, 988 option 1, and somebody will be there to listen. We'll see you next week, crew. We love you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.